feel well to start? Hopefully it'll stay that way. Ready to move. Make sure you've got enough space around you. You've got some fresh air coming through and a bit of water at the side. Lovely. Let's get us moving the head just down and up. So drop the chin, lift your chin up to the ceiling, and then have the feeling of looseness in your arms. So if you were earlier this week, we tried to get the body to be a little bit more aware of itself. You're teaching your brain to control all parts of your body at the same time. Keeping the arms loose, shoulders loose. Now place your hands under the collarbones, so you're pulling slightly down on it to stretch your neck a little bit further. So chin comes up, but we're not moving the chin far away from the neck. And then you bring the chin down. Chin up, eyes to the ceiling, and then chin down slowly. Then we want to look under the right armpit, and then you look up to the left. So your movement is diagonal, down to the right, up to the left. So down, across, and then up across, leading with the nose and the chin. You're going down, pulling the shoulders low, and up, and one more time. Nice one. Swap the hands, which one's on top? So you're going down to the left, or whichever that side is on your screen, and then up, opposite corner, down, drop under, lift, reach. Make sure you keep your knees soft, so we're not actually locking the knees ever. So down and across, drop that chin low, up and reach. And one more time. Nice one. Make a big figure 8, top to bottom, leading with the tip of your nose, reaching as far around as you can, keeping it rather loose. Nothing to cause you any kind of tension. Hold at the center and then change direction. And try to be as smooth as you can, so no sticky points. Everything moves nice and smooth. And hold yourself at the center. Then I need you just to loosen up your arms. Make them dangle, so you're completely loose and easy like the inflatable man, and the arms go anywhere you want. Smooth and easy from the fingers to your shoulder joint. Everything is loose. Good, then shrug your shoulders and relax. Breathe in, shrug it up, breathe out, relax. Couple more, shrug and lift, relax. And one more time, shrug and lift, and relax. Then move your arms front and back, nice and smooth, easy, and start building the height a little bit more gradually. Head is up, arms are swinging, one behind you, one over your head, and then start rotating with that arm motion. So both arms go up, down, up like a pendulum. And we're adding on a nice rotation. Soften those knees. Woo, lost my momentum now. One more. Good, and then like you're cold, hug it, open, hug, open. Once you've got your right arm up, second time, left arm up. Smooth and easy. Then we're going from the bottom, over, across, open, and then cross with the other arm at the front, or whatever you can control. Up, over, open, up, over, open. And one more time. Good, now shake up those legs. So you want to be like a leaf or like you're dancing, but shake it, jiggle from the glute to the foot. I know all of the body areas need to wake up, because sometimes we've got bits that our brain can't see so well. Good, and like you've got dirt on your shoes, shake it off. Or like you're walking your dog and you're about to enter the house, you need to shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. Then bring your feet under the hips, raise up on the toes, spread all 10 toes on the ground, raise down, steady, heels down, toes up. The first few attempts might be a little bit iffy, may not happen. So push the heels down, toes up, then press the big toe the most and the other toes come to help. So you want to be as stable as you are on your toes as you are on the heels. Also recognizing your strength or tight areas. Are you as good on right and left? Are you a little bit more wobbly on one side? Do you need to hold on perhaps? Good, then stay steady on your feet and then turn the ankles outside. Come back, and for feet, to start with, it's best if they're a little bit wider. And then drop your ankles in, but not the knees. So we don't end up like a shy schoolgirl in a skirt, right? We just rotate the ankles in, center, out, center, in, center. So effectively you lift little toe and the outside edge of your foot to the heel, flatten your feet down, and then lift the big toe in steps and the inner part of the heel. And see if you can be as even. And it might be that one side won't even turn one way or the other. And that will be the problem for anything from squats to walking to running. And one more. Good. So if you can get to the squat, you want to push your knees out. And those feet, you need to push your 5 toes down, especially your big toe, but your ankles turn out, because inside of your foot should have the spiral motion, heel pressing down, toes rotating. So your foot is not like that, it's not flat down. You actually rotate out from the heel, in from the toe. So push your knees out and utilize your glutes as much as you can, and just control your range of motion through the hips. So first thing you always do is your bum back, and then the knees are secondary. So you push your bottom back, open the knees, and sit low from the hips, keeping your chest forwards, or whatever works for you to get the smooth movement pain-free. And keep pressing those 5 toes down. The big toe gets pressed the hardest, especially its joint. So below the toe where you've got the joints. Couple more. Nice, and one more time like this. Good. Wide legs, let's get the hips turning. So we want the rib cage and the pelvis turning at the same time. Your spine is nice and long, head is to the ceiling. And you pivot on the toe. So you turn on the ball of your foot, bring the knee inside. Bring your legs a little bit wider so you can just keep the toes down and only pivot, so they're on the same spot. If you're feeling warm under the ball of your foot, you're doing a good job, because they are pivoting on the carpet, causing friction. Now we want to move the arms a little bit further behind you. Both arms turn around, so the spine itself moves as big. We're just adding a little bit more shoulder and neck motion. But the hips with the rib cage, they work together. And then lift one arm behind you, one across your chest. So one behind you, one across your chest. One behind you, one across. And then the same movement, but you point down and away. So you're looking down to the floor as your arm reaches down and back. Down and back. Nice one, one more. Good, let's step your feet together to start with, and then your right will step out to hip distance and further forwards. And where we stand, we've got the front knee bent, and the knee always goes out a little bit. And when your knee goes out, your big toe pushes down. It needs to be combined work. Toe, knee out, not like this. push the knee, press the foot. The back foot, if you look behind you, that heel is directly behind you for now. Good, let's get your hands behind your head, push your head into the fingers. So your head, you feel the weight of the head in your fingers. Hips to one side, body the other, come back, hips and the body. Start the hips, move the body. And your head is always back, your feet are stable, your hips are moving, your knee never knocks in. Good, and it's good to breathe out on those side bends because it opens out your waistline even more, but more importantly, it gives your diaphragm a stretch. One more. Good, step back, so you've got your feet under the hips and then your left leg forwards, or whichever one is your other leg. So you've got the front knee over the ankle, the knee opens out and the big toe rolls back down. Behind you, the heel points back straight. Good. Head into your fingers, keep that egg in a basket. Open the knee, don't let it turn in. Your hips, your body. You can breathe out a little bit and then breathe out even more when you lean. Slower rather than too fast is always best. Push the hips, lean away. Keep pressing that head to the back so your chin is close to your neck, and we're using deep neck stabilizers. One more time each way. Good, step back. Right leg forwards again, or the other leg. Now this time we turn the back heel in. So the back heel comes in. You may feel a hip stretch there. Front knees bend, the foot is down, heel toe, big toe specifically. And then we take the upper half into a gentle twist. Just go as far as it's comfortable. Head is up tall, shoulders are down, chin stays in. And your hips will move on this one. So your hips travel a little bit. Keeping your head up tall, shoulders down. Don't let the back arches collapse. So back foot, press on the outside of the foot, lift in the arch, but press the big toe down to compensate that. And rest, step back, make your feet parallel. Then your other one comes forwards, just to feel the calf stretch, and then the heel turns in, hip comes forwards, open the knee, and it's a gentle turn, look away. And the hips travel along. So they take part in the rotation, but your feet stay stable. So what we want is just a little bit more mobility. You're not forcing yourself anywhere where your body's not quite keen to go. Good, and one more, step back and your feet go parallel again. Step forwards, and this time your heel turns out. So your toes cut in, your heel turns out, the front knees bend, and you may feel quite a good calf stretch. If your foot doesn't go, that's the indication that there needs to be more work done on the calf. And it's specifically for if you're running, it's a good stretch there. Right, so from the back leg, that arm, we're gonna lift it up, push the back heel down, stay steady, because the balance might be affected a little bit. So hold on, do it slow. You don't want to collapse. So where you've got your heel turned out, when you extend, the most of the extension happens up the top of your spine, head, neck, shoulder, not really the lower back. So if you feel the lower back, there's a compensation going on. Press your feet to the ground, use your cheeks, and lift high up from the breastbone to the ceiling. Press your heels down. And one more nose. Nice one. Step back together, shake in between a little bit, and then come on forwards. Oh, wrong leg. The other leg. The leg you haven't done. Don't look at me. Don't mind me. Turn your heel out. Bend your front knee, and you should get quite a good stretch inside. Good. Same side as your back leg. Lift and reach without collapsing, without any kind of feeling on the lower back. Open the front knee because it may be dragged in. If there's not enough movement on the hip to turn your foot, the other leg will start knocking in. So you can even slightly push that knee out with the other hand. You want to extend and lift. And on those back extensions, good to breathe in as you stretch up and breathe out, relax. And bring your feet under the hips, shake them off, easy, loose. No kind of tension that we hold for too long. You just want to contract the muscles when they're needed, and then they go into just enough contraction to keep you upright so you don't collapse. So we want feet, knees, ankles together. Let's start with the knees rolling as far around as you can and pushing your bottom behind you. So the spine has got that natural arch and your knees go smoothly around and you're moving them, but we're not pressing too hard on those kneecaps, just helping it with direction. And then you go the other way. And your feet and ankles also are getting a nice rotation going. Open your legs wider and then roll your knees inwards. And you still want that bottom back behind you, head, chest forwards. Natural arch all the way through. And then open out and away, out and away. Big smooth circles, feet are still getting a nice momentum there. Nice one. Bring yourselves up, toes, heels closer together. Now press your hands like a prayer position as hard as you can. And you want to push from the heel of the hand to the tips of your fingers. You literally don't want any space between one hand and the other. Push hard, shoulders down. Now lift those arms and position them over the head and come back in front of the chest. So soften the knees, keep your bum back. We're going over the head, elbows open, and then in front of the chest. So we're using a good pressure from the chest muscles, from your arms and forearms, keeping your body steady. Shoulders don't go up and down at all, just keep yourself nice and steady. And it's good to keep on looking towards the front. Find yourself at one spot on the wall or somewhere ahead of you that doesn't move. Keep your eyes there, don't move your head. And one more. Good, stable shoulders, roll your shoulders. So now we need that stable spot. So you can hold on to the back of the chair or have your hands on the table or hands on the wall somewhere. You literally need to hold on to something that doesn't move. And we'll be leaning from the hips, so you want to stick your bottom out. When you stand on one leg, you want to bend that knee just to create softness behind, heel pushing away. Now see if you can rotate one way, so we bring in one hip on top of the other, and then we slowly rotate down, so you'll get the stretch of the opposite side. You should only just feel it in your hip. So this is a hip exercise. So we're taking the hip up to roll on top, and then bringing it down to stretch the standing leg hip. And if you feel it in the hip, you score in the point. If you feel it on the knee or on the back, you have to adjust your position, maybe bend your knee more, or make your movement much smaller, or just stand on one leg and let yourself balance that way, pushing the heel away. So you're rolling the hip up, and there's the rib and the hip working together. And you must fit it in the right places. So hip, not knee, not lower back. Press your whole foot down, including that big toe. Good. Head turns. So from looking down to look to the side. Good. And rested. Usually when your knee hurts, that's the issue of your hips. Less likely foot. So it's either your foot not holding you steady, or your hip not allowing you for rotation, and your knee's caught in the middle. That's why you feel it in your knee. Or that the knee is very weak. Another cause. Hold yourself on one leg and push the heel away, being down low. Lower the knee, push the foot down, and then start tentatively, I would say. So very easy. Just see how far you can go, because you may be strong on the hip but not necessarily mobile. You might be strong but not balanced. And you just want to get yourself into a comfortable range. And remember, when you're turning up, your knee maintains the softness or even more bend, and it always points forward, your knee. So whichever position you're at, your knee points forwards. If it's dragged in, you'll feel the pain. That means your hip is insufficient, your foot is insufficient. You need to make it smaller, or just stand on one leg and push the heel away. Now ideally we get the rib and the hip working together. Slow and steady. Always too small, not too big with those movements. Press the big toe down and open the knee out. Just 2 more if you can, if not, just rest. And have a little breather. And rest it. Shake it off. They're not easy, however, they do highlight many problems. So if you struggle with this exercise, there's probably not enough rotation on the hip happening or stability anywhere below. So it's good to strengthen. Hold on to your block. Last standing bit. We're going to turn the heels in, toes out. With the block, you need to imagine yourself putting something behind you in the most awkward position. So you're putting the block behind you on a top shelf, and you keep stretching as far as you can, and then finish out the front. You want to let your hips travel forwards with the support of the bum, inner thighs, feet to the floor, push, push, push and stretch. And as we did before, the most extension happens here, not in your lower back. If you feel it in your lower back, you're going too low. Or you stop supporting yourself from the legs and glutes. Feel like you want to always put that block up the top, high, 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 not down, up and behind you. Push your hips, squeeze the cheeks, lift, lift, lift and away. Couple more. Hips split slightly forwards, reach, reach, reach and away. Good, one more. And rested, lovely. Heels, toes, grab a drink, come on down to the floor. If your knees are not liking the hard floor, just have a cushion under, or double fold, triple fold your mat. Make it nice and cushioned for yourself. And once you're down, you can sit back and reach forwards, or just sit on the floor and breathe easy for a few seconds. Lift your head up, arms going back. So you want to utilize those hips a tiny bit more. Movement can be small. We'll be seated back, you'll be glad to know. And then you just want to almost bring that hip over to one side and then over to the other. Being as low as you can take with the knee flexibility. You want to push the hip to the outside and then you push hip to the other side. If the movement doesn't feel like you're doing anything, don't worry, just keep on working on it. Is the mobility, so things will improve with repetitions. So you don't want to be in pain, just to feel where your tightness is. And it's more about the hips moving because your arms are staying on the spot. So you can go over to one side, one cycle of breath, and then you push over to the other side. Oh, we've got one more. lifted up. We're going to need your block book, whatever you put in your feet on, behind you for some down dog. So this affects the whole flexibility of your whole back. So that is the back, from the back of the neck to the heels. We'll be on hands and knees. We'll be doing it a few times. And let's start on the short position, hands and knees, and that block will be behind you. We'll be working on the toes to start with. So turn your toes down so we can be high up on the bottom, lifting your hips high up in the air. Stay on the toes and push your bottom as high as you can to the ceiling. Now bend your knees, stick your bottom out, and just drop the heels. So we're aiming for bent knees, bum up in the air, breathe and look between your arms. And then just stretch the backs of your legs by an inch, no more. Imagine you're pushing your armpits to the ground or to your thighs. And rest it down. If you feel the pinch of the hip in this exercise, that's the issue of your flexibility of the hip. Relax, move round, and then stretch away. Sit down low. Maybe you'll be able to sit a little bit further than first time we've done it. Come back up, slightly longer position. So watch now, I was kneeling, then I leave my hands where they were, just lift the bottom. So your hands and knees are a little bit more stretched apart. Curl your toes. And we're going to go the same way. First is your bum up in the air on the toes as high as you can. Stay on the toes, stick your bum out even higher. Then bend your knees and push your heels to the block as far as you can. Open the knees apart, lift your bottom up. And then by half an inch, stretch those legs away. And then sway your hips side to side. We don't want rotation, I'll show you from behind. So we don't want to drop the hips side to side. It's just push away and push away. Keep those knees bent and hands pressing to the floor. Look between your legs and just as far as you can without causing yourself a rotation. Open your knees. And rest it down. We're going to get one forearm, the other forearm, and then lean down, rest your head. Lift it up. Because we're in a pyramid shape, there's no direct pressure on the wrist, so your wrists should be okay with this one. You could also help yourself a little bit more with opening and playing your fingers about and pressing actively off the floor. You need to use more muscles. You have them all, they sit in the shoulder. You just need to push yourself away like you're at the top of the presser. One more, we're going to move the knees in and out, and you're always meant to just feel okay stretch, not the one that causes you too much pain. So block behind you, that longer position is there again. Curl your toes, push your bum up to the ceiling. Look between your legs. Then from high up on the toes, drop the heels down with bent knees. And the default is bent knees, bum up in the air. Now one leg stretches away and bend it down again. Stretch away, bend it down again. Open your knees apart and only go to the position that feels like the stretch is mild. And it would be good if you could do it on the exhalation. And don't be too frantic with your breath. So long breath in and then long breathe out. One more. And rest it down. Have your block in front. Wrap one hand around the other forearm and rest your head on the block, just the forehead, and sit back your bottom on the heels, stay down. Then place your hands under the shoulders, push it up, sit on a block. So we've stretched the hamstrings. Hopefully that will make you sit a little bit easier with the legs straight. This is literally the same position. We were like that just in the pyramid. Same stretch. Keep your legs pushing forwards. And then we're going to bend the right leg. I'll just swap quickly. And we want to hold it fairly tightly to your chest, but you use the leg to prop you, lift you up, pulling the shoulders down, head is up tall. Now lift the toes, and then for all of you with flexible knees, you do not push the back of your knee to the floor. If you look at your kneecap, it's got that oval shape that is out and not sunken down, right? So we're not doing this, where your heel lifts off the floor and you push the back of your knee down, right? You do not do that ever, ever, ever. Bend your knee. My daughter does gymnastics, and all those ladies who show them, they all have those knees. And I'm like, don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to yourself. You're going to have arthritic knees in 10 years' time. Shoulders down, head is up. We're going up and down. As simple as that. Up. And if you're grimacing, there's the sign that your quads are not working. So every time you take a step, you potentially can harm your knees, because that muscle is not supporting your knee. And this is your main muscle to support your knee, but also hip. So can you push the other foot down whilst you lift this leg up? It doesn't have to go high. Lift your toes so you can even maybe see the front of your shin bone muscles. And if you're going into spasm, that's another sign that things are not working very well. So do every other repetition. Don't lean, don't round your back, just an easy lift. And maybe if you're quite good at it, you could hold for about 3 seconds. If you get shaky, you have to stop. That's the end of your stamina in those muscles. Last one. So this was very isolated. Move it, massage it, knead it, like you're making bread and you're trying to things kneading. If you felt spasm, if you felt shaky, if you felt it everywhere else but the top of the thigh, that means that your quads are not working. They are inhibited, they're for some reason not strong. That's the reason to work even more. Right, change legs. I'll turn so you can see them working leg better. You can stay as you want. Keep your bum on the block and bring those sitting bones right down. So from a side, you look like you've got a straight back or a tiny little curve. And we're using the torso to lift rather than to sink, right? Not this. Up and tall. Toes are up. Check the back of the knee and keep it soft. The knee should be bouncy and not locked down, right? If I'm not careful, I could do it easily. But if you use the muscle, it's called popliteus, is at the back of the knee, it controls your off lock. So we're going up and we're going down. Press the foot of the opposite leg, chest is up, look forward. The lift is not high. Feel the quad, not the hip, not the glute. If you get shaky, if you get a spasm or pain, you have to stop. Or do every other repetition. Because for your brain to use the correct muscle, it sometimes takes a lot of thinking, a lot of activating. If you can feel the muscle is pulling the kneecap up, it allows your kneecap to glide and slide inside of the tendon rather than it rubbing against the bone. Then that will be your advantage for any activity. Pull and lift that kneecap as if you want to bring it to the hip. Use your imagination, use any clue you can to get the proper muscle work done. Chest up, head up. And one more. Good. Knead it, massage it, dig it a little bit, find those tender spots. change legs over, I'll just change around, you stay as you are. So we get that leg forwards, and we're going to play with the angles a little bit, because muscle fibers don't work like spaghetti strings. Some of them go across, along, sideways. So this one, we're going to turn the toes out. Bring yourselves upright, toes fall out. Lift and lower down. This one is harder. We use predominantly that middle muscle here, but also the inner part of the knee. That muscle is controlling your kneecap to stay in the center rather than deviating. If you're feeling comfortable, maybe hold longer. If you're very uncomfortable and it's painful, then you do less repetitions, but you do very, very good ones. Chest up, head up. So your stomach muscle should tighten, but you're not leading away anywhere. Good. One more. And shake it rested. Good. If you found it easy, fair play. Good. And then toe turns in. And the toe turns in because your hip turns in, right? It's the whole leg action. Wherever it's comfortable. Now press the foot down, lift up, lower down. If you get an immediate spasm, you get away from that position and you hold your leg straight, because that would be a trigger. If you can go up, try it. If it hurts too much, your toes stay up. If you feel like your whole body is kind of jumping into this lift, that is a clear sign of weakness. So see how much you can be stable and almost make it look easy. You know, like I do to deceive you. So you try it. Otherwise, it's too hard. It's not easy for me either, but it needs to be done. One more. So you should have felt more outside of that leg, maybe even outside of the foot. Give it a nice rub. One more change. It's absolutely necessary. Those exercises are actually supposed to be done after every hip and knee replacement as well. Also as a prevention. Press your foot down, lift yourselves up nice and tall. Toes are up, but then we flop them out. Tighten up the muscle. The muscle, guys usually have a nice muscle. They look like a teardrop. It's kind of a bulk on the inside of the knee. That's the muscle you're trying to get moving the most. Lift up, lower down. Lift up. It doesn't have to go high. Push the knee down, pull the shoulders down so your spine is steady. You're using as many muscles as you can to make you stable, strong. Good. If you get any signs of cramp, spasm, pain, you do every other repetition, or you just bring your toes straight up and carry on there. Keep your eyes forwards. 2 more. 1 more. Good. Use your knuckles, use the fingers, knead it, move it, shake it, relax it, whatever it takes. And now that in-turn rotation. So you drop the foot from upright, you drop the foot, knee, and thigh. So your thigh should do this, roll in, keep your bottom down, head up tall, lift, and lower down. You can do it briefly. If you're comfortable, you can hold it longer. However, if you've got spasm, pain, or you feel like every muscle is working other than just the outside of the thigh, then clearly this is a lot of compensation. So leave your toe up in a straight up position, go up and down from there. However, if you did struggle with every single one of those repetitions, then there's a clear sign that you need to work on those quad muscles more. And last one. Lovely. Relax. Knead it, move it, stretch it, shake it, all of that. Lie down on your back. Let's do some modified curls. So we're only lifting a tiny bit. You're meant to feed it on the front of the neck, abdominals, not the back of the neck or your lower back. You'll be on your back, head on the pillow or block. One leg stretched, one bent. You still use this foot to the ground. That's always useful. Stability. Fingers, if your shoulders are flexible, fingers slide under the lower back or near the lower back. That is to remind you that the lower back is not flattening, not arching. It's literally not changing shape whatsoever. Bring your ribs down. We're going to push the tongue to the roof of your mouth. And then lift your head very slightly off the floor, let's say an inch. And then you're going to lift your elbows off the ground another inch. There's no tension on the shoulders. We can breathe easy in and out, but we're keeping the brace. So if you were to poke yourself from the sides of your waist, there would be a wall of muscles. Your head is lifted, but we're looking up, and your chin stays close to the neck, so we activate those deep neck flexors. And rest. Change over. Press the foot down. Is a little lift off the floor on the head where your tongue is pushing to the roof of your mouth. Hold it there. Elbows up slightly. And you should look frozen in that position. Other than blinking the eyes and moving your chest, you are very stable. Up to 10-second hold, but as short as 3 seconds will be a good start. Rest down, change over. So specifically if you've got any issues with stability in the core muscles, including the neck, lift your head, lift the elbows. You may get shaky quickly or tired quickly, so you make those repetitions last a bit shorter, longer breaks, and then build up your stamina. Take it down, change over. So remember, front of the neck tension is good, back of the neck tension, you need to readjust your position. Tongue to the roof of your mouth, head lifts slightly, elbows lift slightly. Across the top you look very flat, right, and firm off the sides. We're getting the rib cage to do the breathing. Take it down, good. Try 2 more times. If you're starting to fatigue, you rest. If you can carry on, go for it. Slight head, but your eyes are up. Elbows slightly off the floor, tongue to roof of your mouth. Your eyes are up. There, so if your nose points to the ceiling, try a little bit lower with your head, Jackie. Good. Keep bringing your chin to the neck a little bit more. Sorry. Change it down. 1 more. And rest. Long arms, long legs. Right, let's finish with some hips then. Lie on your side. We're going to do some rotations. You won't need anything unless you want head and arm to have a bit of cushioning. We start nice and long, under the waist. You are in this mini arch, so we're not pushing the waist flat down. Now lift your top leg and put it behind you. If it's too much of a pull on the hip, you lower the leg closer to the ankle. If it's comfortable, you go behind the knee. So we drop the knee forwards and then lift it as high up as it's comfortable. So you want to keep one hip on top of the other, and we're not rolling the whole body, watch. We're not doing this whole thing. We only open the hip. So I can usually tell by the shape of your t-shirt, because if there are any diagonal lines appearing, that means you've twisted. So look at yourself, maybe in your screen or in any mirrors you might have. You don't want to rotate the torso. You just bring in the leg from the hip. And this one is also a mobility exercise. So with repetitions, we're aiming for a better movement. A little bit less restricted. Not necessarily much bigger. Just maybe feeling less tension. Oh, looking good, nice and serene. Change over, other side. If you felt it on the side of the hip, spot on, that's where we were supposed to be working. Other side, before I sneeze again. Long body, Straight lines, hips aligning one on top of the other, knees, ankles. Natural arch on the side of the waist, just that mini one. You lift the top leg, bend it and step it behind you. If it's too tight, you're going closer to the ankle. You do want to be stacking up one hip on top of the other, and the back foot, you want to put it flat down. Hand forwards helps you to balance. You drop the knee down and you lift it up only as far as the pelvis stays leveled. Drop down, lift up. So if you ever feel this exercise in your lower back, then the position is not right and you're starting to overdo it from the back rather than bring it to the hip. Or it might mean that your hip is so tight that your brain can't be asked to use it, so you use something that moves a bit better, which is your spine. Anywho, bring the movement back to the hip. So if you think about your body like a car, so you wouldn't like to press the indicator and let your windscreen wipers go in, right? The same about your body. If you're trying to use the hip, not your lower back. Simple. Not really, but this is how you want to put it in your head. You ask one body part to work, you want to see the movement just there, not everywhere else. Right? Hopefully you can feel slightly more mobility. It doesn't have to necessarily feel loose or floppy. Just as long as there's less tension, that would be a really good start. Brilliant. Rest it. If you felt it on the outside of the hip, this is exactly the spot we were aiming for. Let's finish on a back extension and we'll be good to relax. For the back extension, you need to use your glutes, your stomach, and the muscles that pull your armpits down and low. And we want to have one hand a little bit forwards and the other hand next to the shoulder, but they wide. So if you face you now, you've got one hand a little bit forwards and the other one closer to the chest. You want to squeeze the cheeks, pull the armpits down, brace your stomach, and then slowly lift up. Good. Bring it down and relax when you're down. Squeeze the cheeks, armpits down, stomach muscles tight. You're keeping the head on top of the spine. Bring your chin down, Wendy. So you want the chin, it's not dropping that. Watch, there's a difference between the chin being lifted like this and dropping. You literally want to pull the chin into the neck, so there's less distance from the neck to the chin. Keep the golf ball. And one more time. And then change for the other arm. One goes further forwards, the other one closer to the shoulder, but they're still wide relatively. Diagonal line. Squeeze the cheeks, armpits, stomach, head on top of the spine, and you only go as high as you can. You can just go by the front arm, going slightly off the floor. That might be the end of it. Or you can go higher. Make sure you're relaxing between your repetitions. So squeeze the cheeks, armpits down, stomach muscles working. Easy. If you feel it in your lower back, you're missing something. Cheeks, stomach, or the armpits. Also, you might be going too high. One more if you can. Rest it. Choose your position to relax in. Maybe grab a drink and resume your most comfortable position. So you can be on your front, wide legs, 2 fists under the chin to start with, or you can lie down on your back, open arms, legs, maybe a cushion behind your head or a block, or you can be even on your side. Whichever one is the position you go to feel more relaxed. So pay some attention to the front of your thighs, because we're trying to get them a bit stronger, a little bit better at movement and controlling your knees and hips. So breathing in, just put the mental focus on those muscles. Think about them, how they look, how they feel. And then breathe out and let go of all the tension. Let it escape to the floor so you're not holding on to it. So you may even want to feel that the thighs feel so heavy, they've been dragged to the floor. They feel like your legs are made of lead. And start taking a little bit longer to breathe out. And when you feel your legs getting heavier and heavier, could you maybe stretch your body a little bit over to the sides, a bit more, a little bit longer to the front and back, and readjust your position? And then go back to relaxing those thighs. And then purely think about your breathing. If you remember from the earlier this week, we breathe in and your diaphragm pushes down and flattens. When we breathe out, your diaphragm travels up your chest. Breathe in, your diaphragm pushes down and flattens down like a pancake. Breathing out, your diaphragm lifts up, allows your air to expel from your lungs. And then slowly stretch these arms as far away from the legs. Let your wrists and ankles wriggle around. Then roll yourselves over to your side with your knees bending. And then slowly push off the floor. Use your arms. Very good. Done. Excellent. Hopefully you're a bit more relaxed than when we started.